If my hair looks weird right now, kindly ignore that. I am in desperate need of a haircut. I was thinking the other day about 2019 YouTube. I've been thinking about it a lot lately. I've been trying to kind of take, not a break necessarily from social media, but just spend less time on it because it is not good for my brain. But I realized as I've been doing this, as I've been trying to spend less time on social media, that nowadays it's kind of all or nothing when it comes to the length of the content that we consume. By which I mean it's either 5 to 15 second long TikToks or Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts, or it's like a 3-hour movie, a 4.5-hour long video essay. Like, there is no in between, and it made me think a lot of the kind of like middle space that we used to have on YouTube of like, you know, daily vlogs that were 5 minutes long, or like stuff like that. I kind of miss that time where things were, where there was that middle ground of YouTube videos that were under half an hour but longer than 5 minutes. So that's why I'm making this video, because I want to bring that back. So I am doing a little haul of all the books that I have purchased / received in the month of July. So to start, technically I bought these at the end of June, but they didn't come in the mail until like this week, and we are over halfway through July now at this point, so I'm putting them in here anyways. I ordered these from Thrift Books because I never used it before and I wanted to try it out. The first one that I got was Someone You Can Build a Nest In by John Wiswell, which I am very excited to read. This is, I think it's fantasy horror. It's about a shapeshifter who falls in love with a human, and I'm very excited to read it. The second book that I got is Am I Blue? Coming Up from the Silence. This is a compilation of queer short stories that was published in the 90s. I think at first thought that this was nonfiction. Like, I thought that these were going to be stories about like different authors telling about their queer experiences. I didn't realize it was fiction, but nonetheless, I'm still excited to read this. And then the last book I got from Thrift Books, Nobody Laugh. I got Breaking the Fourth Butt, 8 Hot to Trap Meta Tinglers by Chuck Tingle. I don't really have a good explanation as to why I got this. I just desperately wanted to physically own one of his Tingler collections. And I did talk about this in my last video. I talk about his Tinglers, which that's what they're called, by the way. That's what he calls the sentient object erotica that he writes. He calls them Tinglers, and I think that is so awesome. Chuck Tingle, I love you. And that's all the books I got from Thrift Books. Then at the beginning of July, there was a bit of a little event around where I live, where it was like a drive by like secondhand and thrift stores and antique store thing, and one of the stops on this antique shop tour was a secondhand bookstore. There was one specific book that I was looking for, and then I came across this edition of something else, and I was like, well, I can't not get this. I physically cannot leave this bookstore without this. And this is a very, very neat edition of Macbeth. Let me hold it up to the camera so you can see. This artwork on the cover, if it is focusing on the cover instead of my face, this is cut out colored paper. I put my mic down, so I don't know how good the audio quality is going to be in this very second, but in between every act is these gorgeous like colored paper cut out like drawings, and they're like layered. This is so cool. I've definitely mentioned it on this channel before, but Macbeth is my favorite Shakespeare play. I collect editions of it. This is, I think, my third edition that I have of the specific play. I love this play so much. Then, Indigo was having their 50% off sale. So, I was on a date and I took the guy that I've been dating to Indigo, and we spent, I think, 2 hours in Indigo looking at books, and it was mostly me looking at books and talking to him about books while he just kind of followed me around. Anyways, here's what I got. I got Billy Ray Belcourt's A Minor Chorus. I read, what's the book of his that I read last year that I loved? It's like his most well-known work. I'll put it on the screen because I cannot for the life of me think of what it is called. That was nonfiction, and this is fiction. And I'm very excited to see the difference in his storytelling crossover from nonfiction to fiction. Yeah, I'm very excited to read this. Then I got The Subtweet by Vivek Shreya. I had heard of this author because, again, there's another book of hers that I have not read but that I want to read. I think it's called She of the Mountain. It has a really neat cover. But they had this for, literally, I think I got this for $2. So, yeah. Then I got Starshipped by Cat Sebastian. There is lore behind this. I've mentioned my good friend Charlie on this channel before, and I'm mentioning them once again because that is the reason why I wanted to read this book so much. This is a queer romance between two actors named Charlie and Simon. And my name is Simon, and I have a good friend named Charlie, and we happened to have met in acting school. So I think this is going to be a very fun read, and I really want to make my good friend Charlie read this once I'm done with it. Then the last book that I got, this was the book that I mentioned I was looking for earlier. I did want to get this in a secondhand edition, but this book is like super, super popular right now, so finding a secondhand edition of it is like impossible. Anyways, the book in question is East of Eden by John Steinbeck. Everyone and their mother is reading this right now because it's being adapted into a Netflix movie. I think it's a movie. I think it's being made into a movie with Florence Pugh. That's not why I want to read this. I want to read this because it's a retelling of the story of Cain and Abel from the Bible. Those are all the books that I've gotten in the first half of July. I likely am not going to be getting any more for the rest of the month. If I do, I guess I'll post a part 2 to this, but I can't imagine I will. But that is all I have to say. If you liked this video, do the YouTube stuff, leave a comment telling me about a book you recently bought, and subscribe, and yeah. See you in the next one, where hopefully I will have a better haircut.